Hi, morning, everybody. Buenos dias. It is just about 11:45. We're going to start with a short exercise since so many of y'all are already here. Well, we give everybody else a chance to join, right? We're just going to review body parts. Right? All right. So I have a person here. And well, the only picture I could find was this person with a rib cage. And on the left, so we don't need a rib cage in particular, but on the left, we have a list of body parts in no particular order, right? All right, so can you tell me in the next slide, I'll show you the answers, what part is which, but I think that most of you all already probably know it, right? So I think yes, you should write this down, right? Instead of build yourself a human, you could probably call it el cuerpo, right? The body, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna clear away our little notes on this side here, right? Okay, so let's see, which words do we recognize? Let me hear from you. So we have la cabeza. Anybody knows what that is? Or if you could tell me anything else on the list, anything at all on the list, right? So la cabeza is the head, right? So this, I'm just going to draw lines. So perhaps write the heading now. And when we get to the next slide, you'll see everything neatly laid out, the Spanish word and the English word, right? All right, nariz is nose, good. Which he has 2 dots for, that's his nose here. Boca is mouth, right? Pelo is here, good. We can't really see his hair, so let's pretend under the hat. He has some hair. Ojo is eye, very good. So he has 2 ojos, so we would say los ojos for both eyes, right? Mano is hand, good. Where's Mano? Mano is hand. Does anybody know anyone named Mano? And Mano is one of those words, even though it ends in an O, it's still feminine, right? It's really la. All right, picture is chest. Okay. Oh, P is foot, right? What is cara? Anybody? Oops, oh no, I went to the answers by accident. Just trying to move this Zoom thing out of the way. All right, brazo is arm. Cara is face, right? Okay, so his car, the lines are getting a little confusing here. Rodilla should, and what about pierna? Okay, so pierna is leg and rodilla is knee, right? So presumably that's where his knee is and that's his leg, right? P is foot, we said cara is face. It'll be confusing if I draw the line, so I'm not gonna draw it. But it's face, right? What did we leave out? Brazo is arm. What is cuello? Anybody? And dedo will be his fingers. He's a Muppet, so he doesn't have clearly defined fingers. Right, and cuello is his neck, right? All right, so let's go to the next page with all these messy lines. All right, and you could see the Spanish and the English. Now, perhaps you know some of these by heart, like you might know hand is la mano by heart, right? Or perhaps you know by heart cabeza is head, la cabeza. So maybe you could just write down the ones that you need. And if you need all of them, no problem, right? And if anybody has any questions, you could tell me. All right, so el cuerpo humano could be our heading. Let me move this and write it in, right? And that is the human body, right? I suppose an animal could have a body. That's why we might want to put in humano. El cuerpo humano. Yes, this is the same thing, but with the English translation, right? To give you a chance to write, people who need it. Okay, so this is the human body, right? If you have a question, you can put it in the chat, right? All right, so I'm giving us a minute to write here. If there are any parts that we didn't say that you want to know, you could tell me. All right, so we've added in writing some more words to the typed up list we have on the left. And in about 10 seconds, I want to change the slide, right? So I'm just going to count to 10. You could take a screenshot, or remember, you could always come back to the recording. Okay. All right, so I'm changing this slide, right? Hopefully you took a screenshot if you needed to. Okay, so here we go. Let's go back to what we were doing last week. So last week, we went through sort of a daily routine, right? And we used that to help us look at stem changing verbs and reflexive verbs, right? So I had promised you a list of reflexive verbs in Spanish. So this is it. You're not going to write it down right now, right? Perhaps for homework this week and next week, you could set this as your homework task to go through this list of verbs and the ones that are new to you to make note of them, right? So this set is reflexive. These are the ones that have the reflexive pronouns attached to them when you conjugate them, right? And there's a list in the middle here that the reflexive has a meaning, and then the verb itself has a meaning when it's not reflexive, right? So for example, if we look at despedir, if you despedir without the reflexive pronoun, that's to fire. But despedir se with the reflexive pronoun, that means to say goodbye, right? Encontrar is to find, but when you add tit, encontrarse, that is like to bump into someone, right? Ir, we know ir is very popular, to go, but when we say irse, that is we are leaving somewhere to go somewhere else, right? All right. Okay, so this is a list of reflexive verbs that for homework you could come back to in your recording and go through and take note of, right? So that is what I'm going to ask you to do for homework for this week and next week. So homework assignment for weeks 2 and 3 will be that, plus here is a list of stem changing verbs in Spanish, right? So here's a list of verbs that change E to I. E to I is the first group, then O to UE, then E to I to IE, there's only 2 in this group, and U to UE, there's only 1 in this group, right? So those 2 are nice and easy. It's the first, it's the other 3 groups that have more verbs in them, right? Any questions about the 2 slides I've just shown you? Everybody understands how they're going to use them. This is really just for you to build your vocabulary and be aware of the verbs when you encounter them, right? Because when you encounter them in real life, they won't have a little reminder after them saying O to UE. Yes, okay. So anybody who needs to take a picture of this, you could do so now. And then I'm going to go back to the next slide. And you could take a picture of that when I go back, right? All right, so I'm counting to 10 and I'm going back to the next one. Oops, what? Sorry. Right. For homework, this is for you to just make note of. Okay, so I'm going back now. And you could take a note of this. Take a picture, not a note of, sorry. Take a picture if you would like to. You're not writing it down now, right? It would take too long. This is a resource for you to have while you are doing Spanish. If you are doing Spanish all the way up to CSEC, then you need to know them, right? So this is a resource for you to have, to learn, to memorize, and to have in future. The bar is blocking, sorry. Okay, well, I can't get rid of it. Oh, isn't there a way to hide it? Hide floating meeting controls. All right, thanks, Zoom. Yeah, okay. You should be able to see it now, right? All right, everybody took a screenshot who needed to. I could go ahead. Okay, so let's do a little revision of what we did last week. Now, remember that next week we are going into what the Form 3s will be doing for the first term of the academic year, which is, it should be the topic of travel, right? And if you would like, you could come to the Thursday class where we'll be doing future and conditional tense, right? All right, so we still have a little bit left to do with stem changing verbs. Next week, I'm going to give you a list of irregular stem changing verbs. So when you conjugate them, they have an irregular first person most likely, right? But next week we'll go through that. So this is revision from last week, right? ¿Qué hacemos por la tarde? Okay, see, okay, so I need to just take care of something. So guys, see if you could work on this while I adjust something on the YouTube setting, right? So see if you could conjugate. ¿Qué hacemos por la tarde or por la noche, right? So this is what do we do in the evening or at night, right? So try and come up with the answers for these 6, right? It shouldn't take too long. You can put them in the chat. You're conjugating the verbs in the we form, right? So we're going through the first one. What does regresar a casa mean, first of all? Sorry, this is supposed to get bigger, not smaller. Right, to return home, right? So after your hard day at school, you return home. So, or your hard day at work, return home. So we say regresamos. So all of us, meaning like our whole family, right? Regresamos a casa. We return home, right? So this first one is to return home. Right, so. Okay, and this is we return home, right? Okay, navegar por internet. So what do? We navegamos por internet. What does that mean? Yeah, to surf the internet. That's the general idea, even though we probably wouldn't say that. What would we say in English? We would just say we're online. We go online, maybe. All right, but this is really closer to surf the internet. Right? Okay, now what is lavar los platos? Wash the dishes. Okay, now last week we were doing reflexive verbs. Notice that lavar here is not, there's no SE, it's not lavar se. So we are washing the dishes, we are not washing ourselves. If we had said something like, if I had given you conjugate lavar se los manos, this would be to say, to wash my hands, right? Now, body parts, you use the article rather than the possessive pronoun, right? So keep that in, just an illustration of how a verb could change in meaning if it is a reflexive, if it is used reflexively versus if it is not, right? Okay, so lavamos los platos. right? Okay. Hacer mis deberes. So what is hacer mis deberes? The great scourge of our lives, right? To do my homework. Now it should really be probably our homework, right? The mis means my. So how would we say to do our homework? Hacemos. How would I change mis to make it our homework? Nuestros, right? Deberes, right? All right, so here this nuestros is our. Good. All right. Chatear con mis amigos. What is that one? Oh, sorry. Number 3. Am I blocking number 3? Number 3 is to wash the dishes. So we wash the dishes. All right. So we chat with our friends. So to chat with my friends. Okay. And the last one, acostarse. What is special about this verb? There are 2 special things about this verb. Guys, when I said next week we're focusing on what the form 3s are scheduled to do for first term, that means everybody is coming. I don't mean only form 3s, huh? For the first 2 weeks, we are focused on what the form 2s are scheduled for first term, scheduled to do for first term, right? But I'm just saying, according to the syllabus, next week I'm putting the focus on the form 3s, right? I'm not saying don't come if you're not in form 3. You have to do everything eventually. Teachers will do things in the order that makes sense for their class, right? Maybe not even necessarily according to the syllabus. Right. So Carissa has it. Acostarse is radical changing and reflective, right? So when you're working on the last one, keep that in mind. Okay, so chatear con mis amigos becomes chateamos. Fun, and if we change it to our friends, it becomes nuestros amigos, right? All right, so acostarse now, which is radical changing. Acostarse means to go to sleep, like to go to bed, to put yourself into bed. Not fall asleep, but the part where you lie down, right? With the intention of sleeping, I guess. Or avoiding the world, hiding under your blanket. Man. All right. So how are we going to conjugate this now? Let me hear your thoughts. So let's remind ourselves about radical changing verbs. When we conjugate a verb that is radical changing, the stem changes for the first, second, third person singular, goes back to normal for the nosotros and vosotros forms if you do vosotros, and then again changes for the ellos, ellas, ustedes form, right? So this is going to be nos acostamos. No capital A, common A, right? Okay, so look by number 6 to the right here, you see to go to bed, right? Somebody asked about the meaning of acostarse. All right. Okay, any questions about this? Everybody okay? Everything makes sense? All right. Oh, y'all are not seeing the, sorry, y'all are not seeing the writing on the screen just now. All right, so I've reshared the screen. I think you should be able to see everything now. All right, good. Yes, you can. Thanks. Sorry about that. The bar is blocking some of the words. Oh, this bar. Yeah. All right. Sorry. Okay, I moved it, right? All right. So let me give you the meanings before we get into the answers. All right. So jugar con los niños is to play with the children, or to play with the children, right? To play with children, their children. All right, hacer las tareas, do their tasks, complete their work. All right, prepara la cena, prepare dinner, right? Okay, leer las noticias is to read newspapers, or to read the news. All right. Mirar la televisión. I think I need to have some acutes above these two E's. Above the O, sorry. The two E's is French. All right. So mirar la televisión, to look at, to watch television, right? Does anybody's parents watch TV still? Maybe your parents do, but you don't. Do you watch TV still? And then acostarse, to go to bed. So this is just to give us some more practice with the radical changing. Game shows, Indian shows, yes, ZTV. All right. Could tareas also be chores? Yes. They do their chores. Yes. All right, so let's do our conjugations now, right? The writing in black on, oh, sorry guys, the description, that is just the placeholder that comes with the PowerPoint. We are going to change it now. This has nothing to do with Spanish. All right. All right. So okay, we'll come to two just now and I'll explain it again, right? So jugar con los niños, so it would be conjugated in the eos form, right? So this is a radical change in U to UE. So juegan con los niños, and pretend there's a tilde on top of the N. You put it in your notes. Okay. Then we come to hacer las tareas. So ellos hacen las tareas. They do their chores, they do their tasks. So hacer las tareas is to do chores, to do tasks. Right? All right, so is that okay for number 2 now? Class is 2 hours long, so don't end at 1:45 or so, right? All right, prepare dinner. So they preparan la cena, right? Okay, then we come to leer las noticias. So how do we say they read the newspapers or read the news? How do we conjugate that leer? Leanne, right. Only one person put it in the chat. Is that because only one of us remembers? All right, good. 2 people, 3 people, right. Leanne, right? Okay, good. All right. So leen las noticias. Good. You're on strike for some book of magic. No worries. Coming just now. Okay, they watch TV. So miran la televisión. Right, with the accent on the O. And acostar, so they acostar, so they go to bed. So radical changing and reflexive. So say acostar. You know, now this smiley is looking a little sick, but that's supposed to be a nightcap on his head. All right, everybody done? Anybody still write in? Yes, both of them mean to be. Now in English, we just have this one verb for to be. So I am, you were, he, she, it was, and so on, right? We were, you were, they were. But in Spanish, there are 2. Now, what's the main difference between the 2? When do you use ser and when do you use estar? The main difference. There's one general difference. Anybody want to take a try? Okay, Rochelle, you're thinking along the correct lines. But you have it backwards. Anaya, yes. Okay, so ser is for things that are permanent, and estar is for things that are temporary, that will change, right? Now, we have to wrap our heads around this because some of the things that we tend to think of as long-term are still considered temporary things because they could change, right? All right. So let's go through what the Spanish speakers, consider as permanent and what they consider as temporary. So this is just a reminder of the conjugation. I'm sure that by now you'll know all of this by heart, right? If not, you need to learn it by heart. So for Sarah, we say yo soy, I am. So if you need to write quickly, because once I get through labeling these, I'm changing the slide one time, right? Right. So for soy, it's I am. This is I am. You are, right? He, she, it, or you in the formal form. Right? And all of these are singular, right? We are, you plural are, right? So if you don't use vosotros, if you haven't learned vosotros in school, just disregard that, right? And they or you plural and formal. Right? Ustedes. So this VD is short remember for usted and VDS for ustedes. Right? And the same for across here. Yo estoy, I am, tú estás, él, ella, usted está, nosotros estamos, vosotros estáis, ellos, ellas, ustedes están, right? Is it vosotros formal CSEC exam? No, it is not. However, some schools still teach it, so I include it, right? But vosotros is not on the CSEC exam, according to the syllabus. All right, so I'm ready to clear the screen. Right, guys, remember if you have an emergency or you need to go do something and you have to step away for a couple minutes, just let me know when you're leaving and let me know when you come back, right? In case your parents ask. All right, so I'm clearing the screen, I'm counting to 10, I'm changing the slide. Okay, so let's change the slide. And now we're going to go into uses. All right. Uses of Sarah and Estar. Right. So first one, we use Sarah. So the left hand side is Sarah, right? So here you might need to jot down some things. If this is new to you, or if this is something you're not clear on, you're kind of shaky on, you need to write it, right? You should write what is on the left hand side at the least, right? But it's not a lot. It may look like a lot, but it's not a lot, right? So Sarah is for things that do not change. And what do we consider things that don't change? Well, we consider who you are as a person, right? As something that doesn't change. So you are a student, estudiante, right? Now it could also be es mujer or él es hombre. So she's a woman, he's a man. Those could be identity things, right? You are from Trinidad, then that is also identity. All of those things, identity, right? Occupation. So you, sorry, this should have an accent here. You are a doctor, right? Yes, I could move the cursor. Yeah, this is a very good question, Cadence. What if you get a new job? Well, when you're referring it to it in the past, you would use imperfect, still not Estar. So yes, you're all right, your occupation can change. However, this is one of the things that Sarah is useful, right? But you're all right. So you just have to memorize Sarah is used for occupation, right? What if you change your name? Well, that was Seyama anyway. That was Yamarsi anyway. Don't your physical characteristics change with age? They probably do change a little bit, yeah. And you could change your nationality. You could apply for citizenship somewhere else. So guys, just memorize the list. Yeah, these are good points, right? But anyway, so identity, occupation, nationality, soy Trinitario or soy de Guyana, you would still use the soy, right? Sorry, I meant to put a map of Guyana here, but I didn't, sorry. All right, physical characteristics, son alto, so they are tall, right? Okay, guys, don't overthink it, right? Yes, perhaps your physical characteristics could change with age and with time. However, in Spanish, ser is used for physical characteristics, right? What word is short in Spanish? So I have tall here, but what is short? If feo is ugly. Right. Well, bajo, yeah, corto more for here, things like short here, right? But yeah, bajo. All right. Okay, so and the last one, characteristics or personality traits. So nosotros somos amigables. So we are friendly. Right. And you might be thinking, well, Ms. those things could change too. People could stop being friendly. Okay, just memorize the rule that characteristics and personality traits take ser, right? Now I have put in the subjects in some of these. I put a and to, but you could just see the verb. Like here we have soy, just the verb. Here we have son, just the verb, right? Okay, all right. So Carissa is reminding us that ser is also used for religion. So for example, soy católico, right? I'm Catholic. So that could go by identity probably, right? I'm gonna put this here in a different color that is not hard to read. Right. Okay, so religion. Right. Time. So we say like qué hora es. That is ser, right? We put this down here then. Time. How do we say it is 1 o'clock? How do we say it is let's do an easier one. How do we say it is 10 o'clock? Son las 10. Okay. So again, we have used ser, right? So I guess the idea is that the time, that is the time right now, we will never get back this time, that is permanently the time, right? Well, I live in Trinidad, might be vivo in Trinidad, right? But I am from Trinidad, because you could live somewhere and not be from there, right? Okay, so let's talk about Estar on the other side. So location, that is to say where you are, right? Estoy in Trinidad, right? If you were in the States, you'd say estoy en los Estados Unidos, right? And the idea is this could change easily, right? All right, emotions change. So for this lady, está contenta, right? Condition or temporary qualities. So, that could also be emotion, right? But a feeling. So, estamos cansados hoy. So, we are tired today. Do I need to translate any of these sentences that I have in Spanish? I took it for granted that they would be easy for you to translate. But if anybody wants me to translate any, you just tell me the number. I don't know which one, right? So, cansados, we won't be tired every day, hopefully. Just today, so that could change. So estamos, right? Opinion. All right, now opinion statement. So if you think that someone is boring, then you would use a star, if that is your opinion, right? Now, let me so I put this in quotation marks to sort of highlight that it is clearly someone's opinion. Now, let's say you're reading a passage and the writer of the passage talks about something being boring. But if it's their opinion, they might use a star. If it's written as though it's a narrative voice that is not attached to a person, it's just a third person narrative voice, they might use ser, right? So just be aware when you use it with a star, that's to make it clear that it's his opinion, right? All right, so leave some space as you're writing. I'll go back over from the left side and go over what they are in English. Sorry, guys, I took it for granted. You'll have to tell me if something doesn't make, if you don't completely understand it, right? All right, so ellas están aburridas. They are bored, right? If I use ser, then it means I'm saying they are boring. But there's another slide where we will go over how things could change if it's ser versus a star, right? Class will end at 1:45, so in about an hour, but we'll take a short break after this to stretch your legs and stuff. All right, incidental qualities. So things that are not always going to stay the same. So it's just like conditional temporary qualities. But so this just sort of happened. You are pale. Right? You're not always pale. Usually you look normal colored, you're brown, a shade of brown, but today you're pale, right? All right, so let's go back over it, and I'm going to go back to the left-hand side and write in English, right? So let me hide away this floaty bar. Okay, so uses of ser and estar, right? So estar is for things that don't change. At least they don't change easily, not without some sort of like life-altering event, right? So first thing, identity, right? And also besides identity, you could have religion. So translations, es estudiante. I see a question just now, right? No, guys, when you're talking about the weather, you don't use either ser or star, you use hacer. We say, you know how in English we have a tendency to say, in Trinidad rather, we have a tendency to say it making hot or it making cold or it making warm or it making this or that. That is just something, a structure we pick up from Spanish and French, because they do not use ser and estar. They do not use to be to say it is raining or it is sunny or it is warm. They say hacer, it is making hot or it is making cold. So I'm putting weather down. Next week we will go back. So I still want to do time with you all and weather. And there's another use of ser and estar we won't get to today. But all right, so I'm doing the transition. So she is a student, right? I am Catholic. I'm assuming that the I speaking is a boy. I didn't make Catholico feminine, but if it were feminine, you would put an A instead of an O, right? You occupation, so your occupation, we use ser for, right? You are a doctor. If you're saying someone's nationality with using ser, because you could also say, what could you say? You could say, well, it's still ser, never mind. I am Trinidadian, I am from Guyana. Right? I am from Guyana. Okay, physical characteristics, they are tall. I can't make them short. I kind of like compress them back into the earth, right? So they are tall. Okay, we are friendly. Nosotros somos amigables. We are friendly. Right? And the time, the questions, what I have here is, what time is it? Right? And we would say it is 10 o'clock. The next part of the lesson will allow us to describe some people a bit. Only a little bit. Right? All right. So I'm going over to the Estar side now. So I am from Trinidad. Sorry, not I am from Trinidad. I am in Trinidad. So Estar is for things that could change, things that are temporary, things that could change fairly easily. Guys, if somebody becomes a doctor, is it likely they will switch professions to something else, like a mechanic or an engineer or a business person? Is it likely that they will change professions? It's not likely. How many doctors do you all know that change professions? Now, I know one, so I could undermine my own argument, but you may know one or two, but in general, when people go to school for X amount of years, they do not then turn around and change their professions. So I know people are saying things like, but miss, you could get a new job, you could change your job. But think about it like that. If you become a lawyer, it's unlikely that you will switch to another profession after that. Whatever, so your occupation is not something you could change easily. You definitely couldn't stop being a doctor and go out and become a lawyer the next day, right? You can't decide you don't want to be Trinidadian anymore and move to a different country and become that nationality, start telling people, I'm not from Trinidad, I'm from Barbados the next day. Barbados would not have that, right? They would not tolerate it. So the characteristics for ser, the things for ser that we're saying are unchanging. It's things like that you can't just change the next day, right? All right. So for Estar now, we're looking at things that could change fairly easily. We use Estar. So if you could change your location, right? You could go from Chaguanas to Mayaro fairly easily. Está contenta, so she is happy. Tomorrow she might be sad, right? Now, if I use ser with contenta, I'm trying to say she's a happy person, like that's her personality traits, right? So the meaning changes. You understand? I'm not writing that down to confuse us just yet. That's for the next slide, right? But when I use contenta with Estar, I'm saying today she's happy. Right now she's happy. That could change, right? All right. Condition or temporary quality. So estamos cansados hoy. We are tired today. Están aburridas. They are bored. But if I use it with ser, then I'm saying they are boring. Right? So it depends on what I'm trying to say. Incidental quality. So estás pálido, you are pale, just things that happen that are unusual. Okay, any questions anybody want to ask? Objects in the classroom. All right, anybody still writing? All right, so I'm going to give us some minutes again to write. All right, so remember I was saying before that sometimes when you use a word with ser and sometimes when you use it with estar, it could change in meaning, right? So I just want to build your awareness of that a little bit and show you some examples, right? So this one I mentioned before, estoy feliz means we had estoy contenta. Right, I am happy right now. In the context of right now, right? But if I say soy feliz, I mean I am a happy person. We know people like that, right? Perhaps some of you all are people like that. You're just happy, you're bubbly, you're cheerful, always pleasant. The rest of us wonder how much coffee you're drinking. Just kidding about the coffee part. All right. So está, there should be an accent there. Bonita. So she is pretty, like, or he is pretty. No, well, it's she because there's an A at the end, right? So she is pretty. Do you have to write this down? Well, it would probably be useful in the future. But if you can't finish all right now, don't worry. There's a slide with the answers that you could either screenshot or come back to in the recording, right? But this will be useful to know and to revise later on. So she is pretty, as in she looks pretty today, right? Or she looks pretty right now. It sort of implies that she doesn't always look as pretty as she does now, right? But if I say es bonita, then I mean that it's more like she's beautiful, a beautiful person. Or she's just a pretty person. Right? Like she's always pretty or she's always beautiful. All right, now these two lista, so ella es lista or ella está lista, they have two different meanings, right? So está lista, that's the second, for some reason I put está second now. So anyway, all right, está means she or he, yeah, she is ready, like ready to go, ready to leave, ready to for you to stop talking, ready for me to stop talking, to eat lunch. But if we say ella es lista, then she is clever, right? So ser lista or ser listo, right? The masculine form is to be clever, to be intelligent, to be witty, right? But estar listo means to be ready, right? All right. What about, so if those are the explanations for the above, what you think about son buenos versus están buenos? What's the difference there? Right, so one of them is they are good people. And estar bueno is more like their appearance. So which is which? All right. So son buenos, they are good people. This is more permanent. This is like their characteristics. Right? And this could mean they're good looking. Handsome, attractive, healthy. If it's not the context of people, if it's like food, then it would mean like delicious. Right? So there's something good about them. All right, so I'm going to pause a moment. So I think I muted myself before I finish. So I'm going to give people who are writing a minute. And within that minute, you could try the paragraphs on the right-hand side. You could try completing them with either ser or estar. Yes, guapo means good looking as well. Okay, so en la fiesta, Maria something feliz, porque something su cumpleaños. So in the party, Maria's something happy. So Maria is happy, but which is because it is her birthday. So tell me, ser is for things that do not change, and estar is for things that change, right? So unchanging or permanent. All right. Now, so let's ask ourselves. So the first one is estar, right? You're all saying, right? Because she's feeling happy right now. So how do we conjugate that? That is está, right? Okay. So está feliz. All right, then we come to porque. All right, it's her birthday. Will her birthday change? Will her birthday change? No, the date for her birthday will not, right? So porque es su cumpleaños. So it's her birthday, right? Good. So we use ser because that is unchanging, right? Todos los invitados. So all of the guests, something contentos. So are happy, right? All the guests are happy. Y la decoración is hermosa, beautiful. The decorations are beautiful. So let's ask ourselves, are the guests always happy? Are they just happy right now? Is the decoration always happy, or is the decoration happy? Not happy, sorry. Beautiful, or is the decoration beautiful right now? Yes, pastel means cake. Well, los invitados will be they, right? So it's not the nosotros ending, it's not the amos, it has to be the ellos ending. So los invitados están contentos. Let me use a different color. Oh, sorry guys, I do have an error on top. Thank you, Haley, for this correction, right? Well, I shouldn't erase it. I should just put not permanent, right? All right, so not permanent. For star. Okay. Thanks, Haley. All right, so los invitados están contentos y la decoración. So we're talking about a characteristic now, right? It is beautiful. Now, you see, this is a narrator talking. It's not like Maria is saying, I think the decorations are beautiful, in which case it would be opinion. Somebody is telling a story and they are telling us the decorations are beautiful or pretty, right? So la decoración, anybody was tempted to put estar here? Good. Well, if you were tempted to put estar, why? Is it because you were thinking that this is opinion? That not everything is pretty to everybody? Is that the logic of why you were considering a star? Right. So if you remember back in the slide where I gave you the example, I had it in quotation marks. If it is an opinion, it must be clear who has the opinion. Like somebody in the story has to say it out loud for it to be an opinion. It has to be clear that it's their opinion, right? Here we have a narrator and they are telling us there are beautiful decorations. Okay, so la música something animada y todos something bailando. So the music was lively and well, they probably want us to say we're all dancing. And we didn't do past tense with these yet, right? All right, so I'm just going to write the verb and you could work on the conjugation. You could try conjugation on your own after, right? So estar, todos, and then we could have estar here again, right? And you conjugate it. All right, the cake is delicious. So was delicious, and the gifts are wrapped in bright, shiny, colorful paper. So what do you think goes here? And then we have the atmosphere, something full of joy, is full of joy, and everyone is very excited. Anybody want to take a try? All right, well, keep your answers in mind. I'm going to clear this now and we're going to go to the next slide, which has all the answers, right? All right, let's go to, I'm rushing us along a little bit because we really want to get to Gustar. Okay, so we can look at it together, right? If you think I wrote the wrong thing on this slide, I made a mistake on this slide before, you could draw it to my attention and we'll discuss it, right? All right, so in la fiesta, Maria está, feliz, right? So she is happy, right? So estar, because she's happy right now, right? Because it is her birthday. So we said that. All of the guests are happy as well. And the decoration is beautiful as well, right? Oh, sorry, I wrote a star here instead of Sarah. So yes, the same logic as before, right? I wrote a star here on the previous slide, didn't I? Right, but this is supposed to be Sarah. Okay, so thanks, Carissa, for pointing that out, right? Because again, the narrator is telling us that the music was lively, right? Everybody was is dancing. Sorry, I keep wanting to put it in past tense. Everybody is dancing, right? They could stop dancing, so it's not permanent. They're not permanently stuck in a dancing state, right? They are doing this right now. The cake is delicious. So this is another statement of, well, fact, right? A characteristic of the cake. Okay, capable / intelligent. Right? All right. That's for number 5, right? So I have 2 translations here. All right, so the cake is delicious. The gifts are wrapped, right? So they're describing right now how the gifts are. The atmosphere is full of joy and everyone, so characteristic and everyone, so people's emotions, they're very excited, right? All right, so let me hear the questions. Okay, so somebody asked, how is the cake being delicious? Not an opinion, right? As it is written, the narrator is telling us, giving us information, the narrator that we don't know and we don't see, right? If Maria said it, then it would be clear that it was an opinion. El pastel es está delicioso, right? Or if somebody said this cake is terrible and she said, no, the cake is delicious, then she would use está, right? So there's a third person narrator, a voice, a person that we don't see, right? So we would use ser. If the character in the story was giving us their opinion, we would use a star. Make sense? When the narrator says it, it's like it's a characteristic. It's like it's a trait. Like when we say people are tall or people are short. Right? Okay, so you guys could take a screenshot of this slide, and when you try the other paragraph on your own at home, you can check your answers against it, right? Okay, so Nicola, are you saying that you're not sure when we would use the ella está lista, she is ready, like in a sentence? So if you were getting ready to leave and now you're ready, we would say ella está lista. So she's ready as in to leave. All right, so I'm ready to change the slide. If you wanted to say that sentence in Spanish, she is ready to leave. Sorry, I noticed the other is hard to, it's kind of hard to read. Ella está lista para irse, right? If you had to say he is ready, it would be él está listo, right? He is ready. And some of you are wondering, well, why Ms. Wright, you're saying not here? Remember that slide from before where we talked about verbs that mean one thing when it's just the verb and something else when it has the pronoun attached to it, the reflexive pronoun. So ir is to go, but irse is to leave. Okay. Yes, it is very hot. I'm sorry, guys. Climate change. Okay, so I'm gonna give everybody 1 more minute on this slide if they need to note anything or take a screenshot and they haven't as yet. Ah, what is this? That is not where I'm meant to go. What passwords? Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, guys. I'm trying to make this bigger. Okay, so we have a gato here, right? So gustar means to like. Gustar is what we would say, how we would convey the concept to like something, right? But literally, it means to please someone, right? Right. So if I say me gusta el calor, because clearly, you know, I'm delusional. This means I like the heat. The heat has taken me hostage, guys, and it's making me say this, right? But anyway, I like the heat, or I like heat, like temperature wise, right? Yeah, that they're not my passwords, actually, this is, but shh, don't tell them. All right, so what this means is the heat which is el calor, right, is pleasing to me, right? So try to understand the structure, because then it will help you formulate the grammar, formulate the Spanish version, right? So el calor is the heat. Because remember in Spanish too, they put the subject at the end a lot of the times, right? Everybody clear on that? VD is usted, the U formal form. Right? And all your ales have to have an acute above. But why are we why are we starting on ale? Why didn't I start with you? Anyway, so this is a gato, right? And these are gatos, correct? This is a perro, and these are perros, right? Yes, ale and los, right? Okay, so if I'm saying he, or she or usted, so él, ella, usted, he, she, it. So they like, so they don't hate cats, right? Cats are okay with them. They like cats. So we would say le gusta los gatos, meaning cats in general, right? Now, if I want to distinguish if it's he or her or usted, why am I still getting this question about VD? I explained it every class. VD is usted, right? It's the shortened form of usted. Okay, don't get hung up on it too much right now, the usted thing. That is secondary to what we're trying to do, which is gustar, right? Okay, thanks, Krista. Now, if we are talking, oh my God, guys, I made an error here because I'm trying to rush. What's the error I made here? We're doing singular first. So le gusta el gato. So if you wrote this down, please fix it. Right, le gusta el gato. Now, if I want to say to the like the cat, that specific one, that one that we brought from Egypt, right? If I want to talk about all the cats in the world, or these three in particular, it would become le gustan los gatos, right? All right. So when the thing that we like is just one, we say gusta, right? T-E. But if the thing that we like is more than one, we say gustan, T-A-N. Everybody clear on that difference? Let's do this one over here. So we have a little cute puppy here. So now we're on nosotros. So nos gusta el perro, right? I'm sorry I didn't start with the slide with you. I didn't realize I wasn't on you, and then I went and wrote all this stuff here, so I can't just change it without losing what I have, right? Yes, it's like duele and duelen, CJ. Thank you for that comparison. So if you understand duele and duelen, then it's the same concept, right? So the gustar has to agree with the thing that you like. It doesn't agree with you. It's not, so we don't use the gustamos form or the gusto form. We just use gustan. So for nosotros, we say nos gustan los perros, right? Yeah, yes, gustar is definitely coming for CXC, right? We can't say that something that is definitely coming for CXC, but I could pretty much guarantee that somewhere on your CXC exam, when you write it in a few years, you will see gustar. Or in your orals, you will have to use gustar. Gustar is very, very important, right? All right. So guys, we will have to come back to gustar next week when we are fresher, because it's so important, right? So if you're overwhelmed right now and your brain is full of wonderful Spanish things and you can't fit in anymore, no problem. Just try and follow along with the explanation. And next week, when we do it fresh, you will be able to, and you have more energy. You could write down a note then, or you can write it down for homework if, by going back to the recording. But can I just check? Everybody understand so far the difference between gustar and gustan? Well, if you don't hablo inglés, then that's good. That means that you're fluent in Spanish, right? All right. Some of you came into class understanding it, so I realized that. All right, let's look at the yo forms now. Nope, this is the vosotros form. Still not the yo forms. What did I do? All right, here are the yo forms. Okay, so all right, so me gusta el gato, right? And if I'm talking about gatos in general or more than one, what do I say? This is not me. This is supposed to be me, right? I would say, which form of gustar will I use? I will use the third person plural form. So I would say me gustan los gatos, because I'm really saying these cats are pleasing to me. They please me, right? Gustan. So for two, the two form, pretend there's an accent on top here. Right? Okay, so te gusta el perro. And over here, te gustan los perros, right? Okay, so that I know how much time we have to dedicate to this next week, can I find out from people in the chat, anybody, this is the first time you're seeing this and you're confused or you don't understand? Can you tell me in the chat, please, if this is the first time you're seeing it and or you're confused? All right, a couple of people, this is the first time. Are you all confused or you're confused? A couple of people are, or you generally understand it. So when we are using gustar, the main point is there are two forms of gustar that we use. We don't use all the different forms like for other verbs. So if you say in hablar, you say hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, habláis, hablan. No. For gustar, we just are concerned with the gustar part, G-U-S-T-A, and the gustan part, G-U-S-T-A-N, right? All right, good. And what determines whether you use gustar or gustan is the thing that you're saying you like. If the thing is singular, it's gustar, and if the thing is plural, it's gustan. Okay, let's go to the note then. I'm going to clear the screen. Okay, so some of you, even though it's your first time, you're understanding it, and some people are still a little confused. So maybe this note will help, right? Male or female doesn't have anything to do with it, just number. All right, so these are the rules about gustar we need to know. So if you have the energy, you could take them now, but I will start class by reviewing gustar next week. Right? All right, so I like, if we want to say I like, we say me gusta or me gustan, right? There's only two ways to say it, me gusta or me gustan. If you want to say I do not like, you put a no in front of it. Yes, you could absolutely screenshot it. No me gusta or no me gustan, right? All right. Now, what determines whether it's gusta or gustan is the thing that you like. So if it's one ice cream cone, then it's gusta, right? If it is 3 ice cream cones, then it's gustan, right? So AN for when the thing you like is plural. And just A, the ending A, for when the thing you like is singular, right? And here's another, is this important, me gustan? Gustan, it is one of the most important things you will do in Spanish. You must be able to say, you must be able to use gustar, right? From now right up to CSEC. Some teachers would have taught their classes in Form 1, and some would have waited a while, and maybe they will do it in Form 2. But I think most of the Form 3s will already have done this, right? All right. So no me gusta la medicina, but if it's las medicinas, no me gustan las medicinas, right? All right. So here you see the second rule. This is the important thing. Gustar is conjugated based on the thing being liked, not on the person. All the other verbs we conjugate, most of the other verbs we conjugate based on who is doing the action, right? But it's not the people doing the action in this sentence. It's the thing that we like or we don't like. That is the active thing, right? All right. So the other thing is to know whether you are putting, now I'm watching the timer, I know we're down to 5 minutes. So if you need to leave, go ahead, but I'm gonna finish discussing this slide. So to know whether we are putting may or te, or just now you saw me put nose and you saw me put, I may have put say, but I really should have put LE for AL and AL. So I apologize for that. We'll go through it next week. We'll make sure we don't have any errors in the note, right? Right. So to know whether you're using which form you're using, you have to look, that is what is determined by the person. Right? So if it is yo, you would use me. If it is tu, you would use te. If it is el, usted, you would use le. If it is nosotros, you would use nos. If it is vosotros, os, and ellos, ellas, ustedes, then les, right? All right, and then 2 other points at the bottom. The 4th point, if you want to ask somebody, do you like, you would say te gusta, and you put a little question mark here. Or you would say que te gusta, you put an accent and a question mark here, right? All right, so for the yo form, you would use me. If the person is yo, if I'm the one who likes, I would say me gusta. If we're talking about what you like, you would say te gusta. So if it's a tu form, te gusta. For el, usted, you would use le, right? Yeah, guys, if you need to leave, you could leave. If you want to stay and just think about this a little bit more, you could do that, right? Nosotros, os would be for the vosotros form, which a lot of you are not doing anyway, right? And then les for ellos, ellas, ustedes, right? All right, anybody has a question they want to ask now? If you have a question you want to ask now about Estar, you could, right? And the only homework you will have, yes, so I'm wrapping up now, right? The only homework you will have is to go back to the presentation. Anywhere you didn't, any recording, anywhere you didn't finish a note, you could complete it, right? And very quickly, so I apologize if anybody is writing, I'm really sorry. I'm just gonna go back to here. No, we didn't do AOAS. Okay, so I didn't put an error there. Oh yeah, okay, this is correct. I did put Lee. I thought for some reason I thought I put C. All right. So we put Lee, right? Okay, yeah, the text is still on the screen. Okay, so I'm staying here for now, right? Caer bien and caer mal is used for people. So this is rule number 5 here. That's number 2. And how is the homework being graded? I am going through them, but it's just taking me a while, right? The homework from last Thursday, if you did one and you want to try another one this week, you could come back to it, right? And you could do another one and submit it. How will the recording be posted? Just do what you can, Elizabeth. If you are capable of doing all 3 and trying all 3, then you could do all 3, try all 3, right? But if you feel like your level of Spanish from school and from the stats could only take you through 1, then just do 1, right? All right, so the recording, if you go to iLoveLessons, I'm typing this in the chat, right? That's the school website. And you look for summer 2023 recordings, you will see a list. And the recording will be posted there within 24 hours, right? Another option is to go to YouTube and search for the class, because I think once we do a live, the recording is automatically up there, right? All right, so I'm stopping the Zoom recording now.